Welcome back to the SOS Dojo. In our next session, we are actually going to be touching upon a subject that is really dear to my heart, and that is the subject of public speaking. Now, public speaking can take on various different forms in this time of COVID and massive change due to a pandemic. A lot of public speaking is being done like this. This doesn't change the fact that you could be speaking to thousands of people. And in that comes this emotional response that we have before we even start speaking, and that is fear. And that's totally okay. Emotions aren't good or bad, they just are. What I want to do is I want to share with you a story. Back when I came out with my first book, Boutique Thinking in a Big Box World, I got asked to speak in Denver, Colorado at a health and fitness conference. And I was offered 90 minutes to touch upon the principles of boutique thinking in a big box world. I was absolutely nervous. And what I did was I practiced the worst case scenario. And what would be the worst case scenario? Well, the worst case scenario would be while I'm talking about the subject matter and having somebody from the background scream out, "You don't know what you're talking about!" How would that make you feel? Imagine someone screaming out, "You don't know what you're talking about." How would you react? What would you say? How would you feel? So this is what I did. I actually prepared my full 90 minutes and then I practiced it several times. I invited the principal of my daughter's school to come and listen to it. I asked my brother and sister to listen in, my parents, friends, and family. I practiced it relentlessly. And I said to every one of them in those different intervals, I said, at various times during my presentation, I want you to scream out, "You don't know what you're talking about." And I want you to do it with a lot of energy and randomly. And I'll tell you what, I was so prepared that I crushed it in my very first speech, which is the beginning of where we are now. So then the question becomes, well, how do you handle that, Joe? What do we do? What do we say? First of all, remember, it is an emotional response. So with practice, it allows us to be prepared for the absolute worst. That's why you're here in the SOS Dojo. Now, what is the SOS? We know it's 2 steps. Step 1, that's right, acknowledge. Step 2, ask a question. So if somebody says, "You don't know what you're talking about," pause. "Well, thanks for letting me know how you feel. Clearly, I said something that you don't agree with. Can I ask you what that is?" Now, the truth of the matter is, they may say something at that point, and the odds of that actually happening are really, really low. Here's the thing, because you're so prepared, you're going to crush it. When you get to the moment that you get to do a public appearance, a speech, or an opportunity to present, even just like this, you will feel way more confident. So in our next dojo session, I'm going to ask you to start doing a presentation on a subject that you know very well. And then we're going to challenge you on that by saying, "You don't know what you're talking about." And then you're going to be able to respond with confidence. And you're going to be able to move on from this particular dojo session and get into opportunities where you will be speaking in public, whether it's in a webinar or a mastermind or live and in person at a luncheon or maybe a meeting of some kind or big stages. Either way, you will feel prepared. And that doesn't mean that you won't have butterflies when those time comes. You'll have butterflies. That's totally normal. Once you get started, you're good. And if someone challenges you, you'll be ready because of the training that you're doing right here in the dojo. So I look forward to seeing you in the next dojo. Get ready because you do know what you're talking about. Somebody's going to challenge you and say it, and you're going to be ready for it. I'll see you then.